So, Mr. Beast has been cancelled. Mr. Beast is over, and I, for one, am all for it. For too long, we've watched Jimmy give homeless people money and give his friends cars and give away houses to people in need and start charities and plant 20 million trees, you know? Oh, you planted 20 million trees? Cool, bro. You know what has a bigger impact on the world than planting 20 million trees? Calling your editor a retard. That is what he's getting cancelled for. And can I just say, as a person who employs 5, 6 editors, if you can't call your editor a retard, what's the point in hiring an editor? Why would you have one? That's the whole point. Yeah, cool. I'm making more content and I'm putting out a podcast, but the main reason I have Keelan here is so I have someone to bully who can't complain because I'm their boss. That's the only point in having an employee. No, Mr. Beast is being cancelled, and it's for a number of reasons. I've got the New York Times article up here, which is just really, really great. Pull up the article, the part of the article where the editor complains about him. I want to see how my behavior with Keelan stacks up. So this is what happens to every fucking YouTuber whenever they let somebody go, is the editor or the former employee or the team member or the housemate will make a 40-minute expose video that'll get 6 million views. It'll negatively affect the creator's life for about 6 minutes, and then the person who made that video's channel will just slowly trickle down to 0 views, and they'll work at Subway. So, you know, if you keep making those spelling mistakes, Keelan, and that could be in your future. So, Matt Turner, 20, an editor for Mr. Donaldson from February 2018 to September 2019, said that Mr. Donaldson had berated him almost every day. Mr. Donaldson often called him by a phrase used to insult people with mental disabilities, Mr. Turner said, leaving him in tears. What? When you're not allowed to do that to your editor? You're not allowed to call your editor a retard until he cries? This is ridiculous. No, that doesn't make, look, that doesn't, in all seriousness, that doesn't make Mr. Beast look too good. But also, how old would he have been then? 18. He would have been 18. I mean, fuck. You're lucky that you worked for me in my 20s, Keelan. If you worked for me when I was 18, you probably wouldn't have any self-esteem left, you know? Look, you have to be nice to the people who are part of the team, but also, how do we know that this dude is telling the truth? Like this is, I feel like a really big part of working for American YouTubers. It doesn't really happen in Australia because it's not really in our culture. But a big part of working for American YouTubers is also plotting their downfall as part of your exit plan. Because with the job market in America and like job security and benefits, you don't get any benefits. You know what I mean? Like in Australia, if a business lets you go, often you'll get at least a month of notice. You'll get a nice severance package. Maybe you'll get paid out, and then you'll get sick leave, annual leave. All of that money could be, for some people, depending on how much sick leave and how much they've worked there, could be upwards of $10,000 to just see them on their way, and while they find a new job and they're okay. In America, there is no severance package, so you kind of have to make your own package, and part of that is getting 600,000 views. You know, what is that? $2,000? That's a month of rent, you know? So sometimes if you lose your job, the best way to make rent for the next month is call your boss a rapist. You know what I mean? Like sometimes that shit works. You look at Jeff Wittick, you know? Look at that, man. Look how much money he's making out of no longer being David Dobrik's friend. And yes, okay, David Dobrik may have allegedly attached the man to a crane and then rammed him into the crane, shattering his face. But that's all conjecture. How do we know that the doctors aren't lying? How do we know that x-rays aren't photoshopped? How do we know that the eyeball hanging out of Jeff's face wasn't CGI? We don't know these things. We do. David Dobrik almost definitely did it. But look, I think that Mr. Beast is allowed to be a little bit of a douche once when he was 18 to a guy who worked for him, maybe. Because the editor also And we all know that I'm incredibly biased against editors in all their forms, including my own, especially. But the guy that left MrBeast, Keelan was telling me that he made, after he left, a video about how great MrBeast was. That went amazing. And then his channel started to die again. And he's like, well, that went great for my channel. Why don't I do the opposite? Made a whole expose about how he's not amazing. Okay, MrBeast paid his rent for 2 months. Now, either there's two interpretations of that. Either MrBeast is a great guy and he's very generous, and maybe the guy's rent wasn't that cheap, so he paid his rent until he could find another job. Or there's about 48 hours of audio recordings of MrBeast lording over this editor man going, you fucking retard, I told you not to spell it like that. And that's why he was paying the rent. And maybe that's going to come out in the New York Times next. That could be what happens next, you know? But this article is a great little read. A lot of people are saying that it's some journalist trying to cancel MrBeast. I don't really read it like that. To me, honestly, it seems kind of balanced. It mentions a bunch of amazing things that MrBeast has done. It mentions the planting the trees fucking thing, and then it mentions a few bad things that people have said that he's done, and also some bad things that the man has done. Last month, Mr. Donaldson also faced backlash from fans who lost significant amounts of money on a cryptocurrency scheme he had promoted and invested in. And again, might I just say once more, if you can't scam thousands of fans out of millions of dollars with a cryptocurrency pyramid scheme, what's the point of having a YouTube channel? That's the only reason I do this show, so that I can get all of you to buy my NFT, which, by the way, is still available. I sold 12 copies and no one's looked at it since. Where's my millions? I'm looking at Lush Sucks making fucking $2 million out of his fucking NFTs of Patrick Bateman and some hentai girl painted on a wall in VR. The dude isn't even selling pictures of real art. He's selling pictures of digital art, and it's a fucking token. It couldn't get any more fake. And I'm very proud of Lush, and he is a friend of mine, and good on him, but I will yell about it. And what is the point of having a fan base if you can't scam them out of millions of dollars? Look at Jake Paul. You can invest in the Jake Paul fucking token, whatever that thing is. There's some weird, like, creator coin economy thing that it's not like a Bitcoin or an Ethereum where you can actually use it. Because I am a believer in cryptocurrency, but being someone who understands cryptocurrency, I also understand that 95% of it is a scam. 95% of it is a fucking scam. And I say that as a man who potentially, if he didn't sell his Dogecoin, would have 100 grand in the bank, but he doesn't because he sold it for something more trustworthy. All right? I'm saying that 95% of this shit is a scam, but also sometimes you can become a millionaire out of a scam as long as you leave early enough, like Jimmy did. You know? That's what... Look, if a YouTuber invests in a new coin and tells you to buy it, hey, he's trying to fuck you. So I think that this shit strikes me as MrBeast being a little bit young, a little bit naive, and having no idea the influence that he has, all right? The plant the trees thing was a great example of him using this influence for good. Creating a cryptocurrency, telling his 9-year-old fans to invest in it, watching it shoot up, selling everything, and then leaving your fans broke, not the best example of using your influence. But I do really like him bullying the editor until he cried. So I'm saying that MrBeast is a multifaceted person. He has his positives, he has his negatives, and we have to take it with a grain of salt, okay?